Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Nisi, back to do another reading over the Murder of Reality, Hidden Symbolisms of the Dragon. Over on Facebook, I did a Facebook unboxing of some tuning forks that I had got in, and also shared the books from Eileen McCusick, Tuning the Human Biofield and the Electric Body, Electric Health. I may be doing a series over that. I'm actually going to be taking a couple of her courses so that I can become more versed in the biofield, right? I know that we're all, I know that our bodies are electric appliances. We are antennas. And so for me, anything that I find that's interesting, that I find that's informative and that's beneficial to you, I'm going to try to bring that up and share that with anybody who sees this video. I'm uploading this to YouTube, and I'll probably upload this over on Facebook as well. I wanted to share those two books with you. Also, I think I shared on my last live stream, The Secret Destiny of America. Very interesting read. I think I'm on like the third or fourth chapter right now. And I have, I have a lot to unpack on this one. America was the great experiment, just like Chief said, Chief Red Wolf, Big Brother Red Wolf. And this is by Manly P. Hall. So, and I have a couple of his other books over here too behind me. Also, before I get started on reading The Murder of Reality, I did call up the fact that over my live stream on Facebook, these books, I showed a picture of the tuning, or I actually showed the tuning forks, but I also showed a picture of the actual human biofield. And it looks like this. I ordered a map. So this is your toroidal field. And interesting enough, every single organ within your body also possesses a toroidal field. So basically, if you have a lot of negative emotions or trauma, it's going to be pent up in your body. It's going to be pent up in your energy field. And I mean, this is not woo-woo. This is actual proven science. And for me, it's like when I saw when I correlated this data in this book, and I went back and I thought, Lost Teachings of Atlantis, The Children of Law of One, John Peniel. Shout out to Jewel. I think Jewel subscribed to my channel. She's his protege. John Peniel is no longer with us. But I texted her earlier today and just said hi to her and wanted her to know that she was on my mind. The Lost Teachings of Atlantis, another great read. I did go over that over in my Facebook group, study group that I have. That I founded about 4 or 5 years ago. And, I saw that in the book, and it took my mind back to when John Peniel was talking about the diet and the exercise and the different types of modalities that you can do to become centripetal or to become anointed or Christed, or what do you want to call enlightened, to raise your vibration or raise your kundalini, right? And there was a picture in here. I don't know if I can be able to find it, so I'm not going to take too much time looking for it. But it's the same picture that was in Eileen McCusick's current book and what was in the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. So I found, here it is, right here. Look, check it out. It's the same thing. It's the human toroidal field from your crown chakra, which is the top of your head, and it radiates out. Same thing. Same exact thing. So there is factual based science behind this. And so you got to know that everything around us has been weaponized and formed against us. And so I'm not giving it energy, but yet and still I know it is a thing. EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, is a thing. Those cell phone towers, them setting up 10G, them spraying in the skies, the mysterious fog that's coming in, the nanites that are in the fog. I've been coughing more. My asthma. I was just recently on steroids and I'm off of it now. And I did a parasite cleanse and now I'm juicing. I had went earlier today to Main Squeeze and got some fresh organic juice squeezed out for me for the next couple of days. Drinking my vapor distilled water, and I do have a distiller in the house, in the kitchen. I am going to talk about water at some point. I know Chief had brought it up a while ago. we all have to do what we think is right for us and beneficial for our bodies, because you know your body. But like I said, any information I find that I think it's interesting and there's some weight to it, like there's some back science behind it, I'm going to share it with you guys, right? So without any further ado, let us get into the murder of reality and where I had left off previously. Oh boy, I tell you. You can't make this up. You know, these beings, they live a long time. And for me, they do the most. We are, beautifully created. And we are not living in our truth and our steed. And I have to say it from Big Brother Red Wolf. I read chapter 8, Baskets and Bastards, the last time. I think it was over on Facebook. So like I said, I'm going to read this here and I'm going to upload it in several different locations, so several different social media platforms. So we're on chapter 9, the Exodus and the Ram. And like I said, you just got to know that we're wonderfully and beautifully created. I'm not trying to give it any energy, like Chief says, and Alex has even said he knows how it ends. He sees it. They've seen it. They've seen it, and they've been given this vision. And I don't want to say it's a gift, and I don't want to say it's a curse, but when you know, and you can't hide it, right? You cannot hide that you know the truth existence. So let's get into it. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: every boy that is born, you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. Now a man of the house of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. She, the Pharaoh's daughter, named him Moses, saying, I drew him out of the water. Exodus 1:22, 2 verses 1 through 3 and 10 from the New International Version. And then it says, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take the child, baby Yeshua, and his mother, and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. And that is Matthew 2 verses 13, and that's in the New International Version. Okay? And it says, in the book of Exodus, the baby Moses is concealed in a basket, a hallmark of his angelic birthright, doubled symbolically with the death of the firstborn. Historically, the tradition of Moses cast into the river Nile corresponds with the Babylon king Sargon, recorded in the Akkadian language. The translation reads, I am Sargon, the mighty king, king of Akkad. My mother was a high priestess. My father I knew not. My city is Azurapana, which is situated on the banks of the Euphrates. My changeling, Lulu mother, conceived me. In secret, she bore me. She set me in a basket of reeds. She sealed my door with bitumen. She cast me into the river. Aki, the drawer of the water, took me as his own son and reared me. Ishtar, Inanna, granted me her love. And for 4 years, I exercised kingship. There are a number of similarities between the accounts of Sargon and Moses. The name Moses in the narrative of Exodus means to draw out of water. Repeated in the Hebrew pun Moses. In Greek, Moses denotes an offspring of air. From the Egyptian root mas, a descendant. The suffix mas is preserved in the Noet-Pharaonic names Thot, Moses, or Ramses, just transcribed in the Egyptian as the Dutamatus and Ramas. Moses' name in the original text is clearly associated with a Moser, or to deliver, and Yesha, deliverance, rendered in the Greek as Yeshua. Additionally, the Hebrew verb stem Yasha is paired conceptually in the Old Testament with Yisrael, or Israel, formerly Jacob. Israel's acquired name is translated as he that strives with God, literally to deliver. Okay, a play on his tribe name is Asher, a sanction ed. Yesha, deliverance, informs the adjective Yasser, straight, translated into Latin as the rectus or ruler. Nautical terms identify with the sailor. In the Islamic tradition, Israel prescribes Azrael, clarified with Azrael or Azrael, the angel of death, parallel to the Exodus and the host. Moses' conception from water, which is Moser, fits with the Akkadian description of Aki, the drawer of water, read in alternative translations as the irrigator, the prophet Moses, okay? Otherwise, Moses, to draw out. The Akkadian aki parallels the Greek prefix ago, meaning to lead, bring up, or draw out. Diminutive of the agape, unrequited love, okay? And it says invocative of the agapio, which is celebration, as a suffix ago appears in the Hellenistic vocabulary, such as nekrokogos, leading forth the dead, or the, let me try to pronounce this, you guys. These are some tricky words. Fasufagogi, fashagogio, to conjure up souls from the netherworld, and so forth. Necrokogos, necromagakong, negro. Okay, just saying. You can't make this stuff up. These words have been utilized against us. Chief, if you see this video, man, you're so right. I'm seeing it in real time. I'm reading it. I'm reading it with you guys, but drawing back to other texts that I've read previously, and it's like it's all coming together for me. You're seeing it on camera. Agos, original root aki, is derived from the Sumerian word ag, love, junction, a junction in classical Greek with hagios, or holy. The Greek adjective is conceptual to the Egyptian Arabic stem hag, or haji, a pilgrim, recollected as ago. Employed in written Greek, ago conveys the Hebrew verb Moses, to draw out. Classical uses of ago within the Septuagint edition of the Exodus suggests a meta-narrative, a theme detailed in Hellenistic mythology. Greek writers, for example, refer to Argo as a ship that carried the fleece of the golden ram, rescued by Jason and the Argonauts. I haven't read that story in a long time. Cultic reference to the Argo infers ago, to lead, thematic of divine intervention, cognate with the Agapio feast. In a different version of the myth, the Argo is used by Dionysus to transport his 50 daughters when they fled from Egypt to escape the ruler Apagius. In structure and narrative, the story is similar to Moses killing the Egyptian and running away to marry Rule's daughter, a Midianite. In reference to Dionysus, he is recorded as the son of Balas, the brother of Egypt, or Agamemnon, and the brother-in-law of Phoenix, the sovereign over the Phoenicians. Dionysus himself gave his name to Danaans, the word or unknown origin used commonly by Homer and other poets to designate the Greeks. Dionysus, otherwise Dananas, is demonstrated in the Greek mysteries to originate from the tribe of Dan, a judge, fathered by Yesiel, and his concubine Bahal, recorded in Genesis 36. The name Dan is transferred into Greek as the Dananans. His Semitic brother Bahala, his Semitic mother Bahal, transliterated as Belus. Biblically, the tribe of Dan settled in north of Canaan, marked as the uttermost northern region of Israelite territory. Etymologically, Dan is related to Dane, written in the liturgical Latin as Dani, or Old Norse Dane. Mythical Dana's name is almost certainly a pun on Dionysus, or Lord Isis, Lord, yes. Otherwise, Jesus or Jesus, okay? Read as a subtext, Dionysus sexual exploits pertaining to his daughters is encoded in the Syrian language. His namesake, Yeshua, or Yesis, covertly infers Yasis, a spy, linked to Jehuzi, a spouse or wife, thematic of the Jaza, to punish. Dionysus, otherwise Dionysus, Jason, or Yeshua, leads us back in the fictitious fashion to the traditions of Exodus and the portrayal of Moses as a figurative. This set of events is conjunction to the Bacchic mysteries of Jason and Argonauts. The word Argonaut is compound of argo, to lead, affixed with the Greek word nautos, a sailor, from nos, a ship. Designation of nos is used as a suffix and is related to the word Thanos, read as Thanos, a nobleman, literally a lordship, okay? Specified as Danas or Danas, the etymological comparison of the Danas and the Thanos is more than probable, as there is no D sound in the Greek alphabet. The delta sign is read as TH, okay? Danis, otherwise Dionysus or Thanos, is illustrated as the progenitus Jason, a permutation on the Greek appellation Yeshua or Jason. Healer is another form of the name Jesu or Joshua, Hebrew word Yeshua, salvation. Yeshua marks Yesha, to deliver, a cognate of Yeshuril or Israel, correlated with the tribe of Asher and his older brother Dan. Comparison between the Greek and Hebrew suggests Yesha and Asher is a variation of the mythology of Dionysus, identified in the Semitic with Israel, affiliated chronologically to Moses, the leader identical to the Moser, to deliver. Philologically, ago, the leader describes a navigator of the Argo, a signifier of the host, correlated religiously with the Agapio festival. Argo's root is reflected in the Latin lexicon arca, which is a chest or coffin, vocabulary pertaining to the boat or ark. Arca is mutual in Greek to archi, beginning, intimate, innate, with archos, a ruler, represented as a sailor aligned to the ram. Elaboration of the Agapio circumvents the golden ram traditions connected to the Passover lamb. In the early Christian communities, the Agapio classifies the love feast before or after the communion held for the poor, a vestige of the Baccha cult ceremonies. Camiro, I don't know if you see this video or not. Excellent video when you did over the holidays and how we should not be partaking in these types of holidays. The world will have you to run around and do the very thing that we should not be doing. I kind of get quiet around the holidays sometimes because I don't feel like I have to explain certain things to certain people. I just don't. So, shout out to Camiro for breaking down an excellent video over Christmas. I just want to give him a nod to that. There are others that have done some excellent work, but Camiro for sure. Excellent presentation. And then the one he did on the, that I watched early as wee hours of the morning when I woke up. On the Masons, Freemasonry. I watched that. It was an excellent video as well. Always does excellent work. So check him out if you guys can. If you haven't, please subscribe to Camiro. Now, it says, this was part of the Bacchic cult ceremonies. Worship of the Bacchus corresponds to the Judaic calendar with the Passover lamb, linked to the crossing of the Red Sea. Okay. Slaying of the Egyptian army duplicates the death of the firstborn, stylized as blood and water, the Red Sea. Christian liturgy commemorates this covenant through the sacrificial blood and water of the innocent lamb Christ. His death theologically substitutes the lamb of Christ with the Passover lamb. In the original book of Exodus, the Red Sea is described incorrectly as Yam Surf, the Red Sea. Confusion as the English translation results from a wordplay contrived from the ancient Hebrew converted as the angelization of the reed and red. The Hebrew noun Cain, signifying a reed, is punned in the Old Semitic word with the word Cananum, the red dove put on the head of the ewes in the pastures. The Canaan is extracted from the rare Sumerian word gan-nu, or red dye. This dye is probably the same as the Arabic root word henna, in English henna. The older form of the Semitic noun Cain, which is reed, is rendered as Cana and is found in the name Canaanite or Canaanite. Appellation of the Canaanite suggests a scribe or a scholar approximate to a literary education or cultured person. Cryptically, Cain indicates the red people or the Canaanite traced back through the lineage of Adam, Cain, and Esau. Doctrinally, the red descendants pertain to the theology of the red crown or desert assigned to the pharaohs of Lower Egypt, a mystery cult originating from Canaan. Cain, yellow, arcally red, is grouped into Latin with canicular, the brightest star of the Canis Major, the dog star, or Sirius. Symbol of the star appears in the Greek mysteries as the caniphorus, plural, or the caniphori, equivalent to the basket bearers. Historically, the cherub. The caniphori, aka the cherub, is marked by Judaism by Moses, the kashet, and the atonement of the infant male, elemental to the creation of a new covenant. In the European branches of languages, the Kananun informs the Old English word kuna, Kunna, to know with regard to language grouped. In the Latin with cunus or vulva, illustrative of the salt covenant or saul or basket, Arabic saul. Canaan is translated in Greek as Canaan and signifies the ecclesiastical law or a decree, epitomized by the red vestige of the priest. Canaan, which is a decree, is reducive for the Arabic word kana or quana, law, implicit of the red ewe or gana. And this is a picture of the ram deity Ammon and the basket and the motif, the temple of Seti. Check this out. Now it says the citation of the Quana or law reflects the Semitic word kani or jealous, denoting Yahweh as a jealous or red god, connoting legal propriety. Variations of the canon or law allude to the Roman transitive verb kano, to play, sing, celebrate, prophesy, predict, foretell, and to sound the signal for battle, signa canari. The root of kano originates from the Hebrew title kohen, which is priest, or synonymous with resuscitation or the Quran of the law, the Qur'an. The expression, the kuna, the red daub, also looks exactly like another Semitic word, the KHNNA in brackets, to be gracious, source of many personal names in the Old Testament like Canaan, Hanan, Kanu, the Hananu, the Kana, Hana, Yokahana. Yahweh has been gracious. In the Egyptian mysteries, the red ram, the Canaan or the Ganu, connotates the sexual rights accorded to the deity Konum or join. Konum is translated into the Hebrew as Levi, which means to join, most likely as an artery, like Lev or heart. The namesake of Levi is parental to the tribe of Moses, the Levites. The Konum's incarnation as the Egyptian creator god facilitates the Nile's nation. Cognate with the rising of Sirius, the daub blood of the red ram, Kanu is combined symbolically with the Kanum, characterized as blood and water. The Kanum's cognomen is etymology a variant of the Egyptian deity Anum or Amun, hidden. Linguistically identified with water, Amun is also a ram and outlines the monarchical lineage assigned to the hidden priesthood, which is in chapter 12 or chapter 11, the Amorites. At the temple of the Anum, attributed to Seti and Abydos dynasty, the head of the Amun and Horus, which is a falcon, is combined with the motif of a reed basket and describes the royal insignia of the pharaoh. Just showed you a picture of that. The basket, a device of the menstrual womb, is a symbol of the red ram or goat, Kanam, classified with the offspring of the Cassiphorus, a basket bearer equal to the cherubim Sirius. Pairing of Amun's basket with the bulrush is significant. The bulrush or reed in seed appears like a feather, emphasized by the similarity of the Egyptian hieroglyph for the feather and the bulrush. Archaically, the feather denotes an angel or alien, referred to by Greek scholars as the Hemerti, a literal half of God or demigod. Within the borders of Egypt, the feather signifies Ma'at or Ma'at. And I think I have the book, what is it, 32 Laws of Ma'at? I think that's what it is over here. The virgin goddess of judgment, equated theologically with the firstborn and the weighing of the heart, right? A ritual accorded to the Levite priest in perpetuity to the joint covenant of the ram, the kunum allied to Anum. This agreement discloses the Western priesthood, which is a rabbi, descended from the Amorites, a people related to the Canaanites and Hyksos, ancestral of the red people originating from the east. In summary, the progeny of the people is conveyed through the angel and the matriarch, symbolized as the basket or ruler, nominal of the tribe of Levites. Proponents of the Levites and the Amorites are linked covertly to Moses and the death of the firstborn. The latter tradition, a vestige developed from the Babylonian priesthood, a covert faction betrothed to the Western covenant and the worship of the ram Ammon. Ammon. The ram Ammon. Okay, so that was that chapter. Next chapter, when I come back, we're going to read chapter 10, Amun and the slaughter of the ram. Now, let's quickly get into, without my ad-libbing, flying serpents and dragons. We're doing pretty good on the time. I'm trying to read pretty quickly today. All right, I left off where the borrowed stories of the Old Testament. I ran through the origin story of the fall of Lucifer. I talked about Zal. I stopped at the borrowed stories because I have it flagged here halfway down. So I stopped like right in here. So let me just pick that up. So it says, biblically, apologists have deliberately shown the issue of origin of the stories of the Old Testament in spite of the evidence that its antecedents lie in the plains of Mesopotamia. The Sumerian culture, which can be traced as far back as the beginning of the 4th millennium BC, was a source of all myths and stories of later civilizations of the Middle East, such as the Akkadian, Babylonian, Assyrian peoples. This culture became Semitic and was subsequently transferred to the lands of the West, to Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Anatolia. The language of the Sumerians was superseded rather early by Akkadian and Semitic tongue. These people later intermingled and eventually formed a fusion of the two languages. From the Sumerian Akkadian milieu evolved the Semites and eventually the Hebrews. The Hebrews did not invent their language and literally forms. Their culture was inherited from the older Mesopotamian and Canaanite cultures. It should be widely realized that when this famous biblical figures of Noah and Abraham lived, there was no such thing as Hebrew in existence. Both the Jews and the Arabs traditionally claimed descended from Abraham, who was neither Jew nor Arab, but a Semite who resided in the capital city of Ur in the Mesopotamia. When he left Ur, Abraham presumably brought with him these Sumerian traditions. According to Genesis, his father was a high priest. Other sources indicate he was also a prince in the hierarchy of the city of Ur. It is therefore manifest that the stories of the creation of Adam and Eve, the fall of man, and the deluge were derived from the literature and myths of Sumer, the fountainhead from which all nations of the ancient world drew their knowledge and beliefs. I have to disagree on that one, but I'm just going to keep it moving. The Old Testament was written down in its present form much earlier than the 7th and 6th century BC. On the other hand, most of the Sumerian stories and languages were compiled and put to clay tablets about 2500 BC or long after. We know that the Eden of the Bible was located in Mesopotamia at the mouth of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which is here in the U.S. It's not over there. A region for the Sumerians called the Eden, or the land of God. It's right here in the U.S. Furthermore, many of the heroes of the Old Testament were lifted from the contemporary legends. For example, the story of Jonah was apparently universally known. Hercules was swallowed by a whale at Joppa, precisely the same place as Jonah. Persian legends tell of their hero, Janashid, who was devoured by a sea monster which literally vomited him out safely on the shore. The story of Job comes from the Babylonian poem about a virtuous man named Tabah-Hatulbil, who was sorely afflicted from some inscrutable reason and tormented by the gods. The story of Daniel was taken from the North Canaanite poem dated as far back as 1500 BC. The story of Samson is so far and foreign to Hebrew lore as to indicate that it was borrowed in Totu from the Canaanite mythology. In fact, his name is derived from Shamash, the Sumerian sun god who ruled Lebanon. And that's true. The Bible's just a compilation of like 10 books put together. They took all of these different books all around the world and put it together in one book. And actually, King James wrote the demonology book, which I have behind me over here on the top shelf. And it's actually a decent read. But it talks about the demons and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to read it or not, but it's very informative. I'm just saying, he put that book together before he did the Bible. I'm just telling you. So, for you people who are heavily into religion and things like that, y'all need to do your research. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to pull up sometime this week. I'm going to try to get on here. I know I owe Joseph some CIA declassified documents. I got to get that to him. But I'm also going to do a podcast over Jamil Shamsi-Dean's book. I'm going to try to join a podcast with Chief. And then I want to do a podcast over the Sumerian texts. I want to pull that up and show you where you can go, set up an account, and we're going to read we're going to pull a tablet off the shelf and we're going to read it together. I did it over in a group, but I want to do it on my main pages, and I'm going to try to upload it here as well on YouTube to show you where you need to go to set it up, because there's really no reason now. It's 1024. It's not New Year's. I'm even contemplating it's even 1024 at this point, because I know they added 1,000 years, give or take 1 or 2 years. So everybody's running around here celebrating the new year, and it's really not the new year. The new year is built basically astrologically, and it shows you based on the almanac and also the astrology, the tracking and moving of the planets and of the sun and the moon. It's not until the spring is when actually New Year's is, you guys. I'm just going to say it. They changed it. And then, they added July and August, named after Julius and Augustus, those, Romans or whatever, and they added that into the calendar. They wanted people to remember them, and it's just like when you start to look at what September, November, October, and December actually mean, you could tell the months are off if you just would use your mind and think, okay, it should be 13 months, 28 days, 5 seasons. I mean, honestly, and that's no pun. It's just common sense. So anyway, like I was saying, furthermore, many of the heroes of the Old Testament were lifted from the contemporary legends, for example, and I ran through all the stories. And then it says the struggle between good and evil, which is fundamental to the Judeo-Christian concept of sin, is basically derived from and gets its impetus from a Sumerian story of struggle between good and evil gods for the control of the pantheon. The myth of Zau describes how an evil god named Zau seized control of the heavens and destroyed by a heroic god sent by the pantheon. From it was derived the story of the attempt of the evil angel Lucifer to seize the heavens and his defeat and banishment to hell below. The origin of the story of the fall of Lucifer. And I actually have, what is that other book over here? It's that blue book. Oh God, what is it? Hold on. It's a thick one. I ain't even read all. It's the Urantia book, the Urantia papers. That's another good one. That's just a lot of reading. And I have so many other things going on, I can't get to it. I have it marked up in certain sections though. So anyway, it says the account of the good God against the evil one was a story known as the Middle East in various forms. It says the story of the fall of Lucifer is found in many of the ancient religion documents. For example, details of the struggle appear in the Slavic Apocalypse of Enoch, also known as the Second Book of Enoch, a document which has survived only in Slavic and was probably derived from Aramaic sources. It refers to an archangel called Samuel, God within, who rebelled and tried to seize the heavens. Like the evil Sumerian god Zau, he tried to enthrone himself above the gods. As related to Enoch in this book, God cast him down to earth, from earth to Sheol, and from there to the bottomless pit. But one from the order of the archangels deviated. He thought up the impossible idea that he might place his throne higher than the clouds which are above the earth, and that he might become equal to my power. And I hurled him out of the height. A version of the struggle in the heavens is given in the book of the Revelation 12:7, where the fallen angel is called a dragoon. Okay. Now, war arose in heaven. Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, and they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, the ancient serpent, who he called the devil and Satan. Which is interesting about the version of Revelations is that it equates the serpent, the dragon, the evil angel, a sub-theme of the book, which we'll be discussing a later point. Lower aspect of the mind, lower consciousness. You're in your sin state. You're in a lower vibration. You are not entangled with the creator of all. You've forgotten who you are. I don't even want to go through the whole explanation of that again. But I mean, these stories are illustrative of indicative of what happens within the human mind, the human body. Do they have relevancy as far as actual history and things like that? I would say, yeah, in some points it does. But another thing is you have to look at it from an astrotheologic perspective, right? All right. Satan is El Satan, which means administrator. Who administrates over this dumb world? I mean, that's just it. I mean, you got prison guards running the prison. I'm just saying. You got prisoners and prison guards running the prison. What is interesting about the version of Revelations that equates to the serpent, the dragon, and the evil angel is sub-theme of the book, which will be discussed in later detail. The notion of the evil or fallen angel as Lucifer or Satan was well established by the time of Christ. It apparently became formalized at the Council of Nicaea in 325, which sought to define heresy, and that was a bloodbath. Do you know how many people were killed in the name of religion? The three Abrahamic religions all pretty much say the same damn thing, and they're talking about what goes on up here. Simple. In the Middle Ages, the concept of the evil god became well known. It appears in illustrated medieval manuscripts and on the stained glass windows of the churches and cathedrals. Satan is usually shown as described as half human and half goat with horns. And I showed you a couple of videos back. Phosphorus, aka Lucifer, right? I showed you what he looked like in the depiction in the Sistine Chapel, okay, at the Vatican. And it says he's depicted with the horns and a tail and a chin, beard, and cloven hooves. The characterization seems to have been copied from the Greek depiction of Pan, the god of fun and sexual license. Many Greeks vases portray people frolicking with pen and obvious sensuous activities. The early Christian church frowned on such activities and propagated the notion that life was grim and serious. That's one's life should be searched to rid himself of original sin. Sin became associated with the licentiousness of, and the Greek god Pan became the symbol of Lucifer or Satan. Sin, again, is the lower aspect of the mind, it's the lower consciousness. When you are not stepping into your truth and you're walking in your true existence, you are pretty much in sin. We live in sin 24/7. Because we're in the lower state of our mind. We're not using the right brain. The left side is the descending, the right side is ascending. Okay? Descending, ascending. You're in a lower state, you're in sin, you're in descendant. You've descended and you're out of balance. You're in chaos. And I mean, I don't know how much more plainer that can be. But the thing is, people need to know that your body has an alchemical process that it goes through. Like most people, and I have to keep saying this, and I'm sorry I have to repeat this to you guys, but most people do not understand. They do not understand the human body and how it functions. Most people do not believe that there is a bioenergy field that surrounds you. And it is, because fact proves when you drop down and you stop breathing, first thing a person's going to do is they're going to check your pulse and they're going to see if your heart is beating. If your heart's not beating, they're going to start chest compressions. They're going to breathe and they're going to say, hey, call an ambulance. Then if you're at work and you have an AED, they're going to go pull out an AED. They're going to rip your shirt open. They're going to put the paddles. They're going to charge the paddles. They're going to put the stickers on, but shock you to get a rhythm back. A rhythm, electricity in your heart. Every human is about 7.8 hertz. Okay? Give or take. Some people resonate higher. But my point is that when you die, the energy leaves your body. Yes, this is an electromagnetic universe. The ancients knew how to pull electricity down from the ether, and they used it with the pyramids. They were much more advanced than we are. We have fallen in consciousness. I don't know. I sound like a broken record, don't I? I mean, we've fallen in consciousness because, one, we're not walking in our truth. Two, we're not utilizing the information that's at our fingertips. Like right now, most people aren't even concerned about it. They're recovering from their fictitious New Year's Eve partying last night. Man, my ass was in bed by 9 o'clock. Okay. I think I woke up like at 12:30 or 1 and went back to sleep. And I think I woke up like at 4 something and got up and let my puppies out so they could use the bathroom and then get back in bed. And we went and grabbed something to eat at one of these little diners and then came home and got back in bed and went to sleep. I mean, I don't partake in this crap. I don't, because I know it's an illusion. And the more and more it surrounds me, it bombards me, it drains my energy, and I have to protect my energy. So in closing, my thing is, I really want you guys to check out Elaine McCusick stuff. I'm going to try to pin some of her stuff over. I have pinned a couple of her things on Facebook. I'm going to reshare them over here on YouTube because I'm going to upload this video on Facebook and YouTube. But I really think that this is something that you all need to pay attention to. I know for a fact, a low vibe person typically has a lot of pent up emotions. They're going through a lot of stuff mentally, financially, physically, depression wise. They're around certain people. Anytime you're around people, they say birds of a feather flock together. So my mother said when she was alive. Rest in power, mama. Birds of a feather flock together. If you are experiencing depression, financial hardships, you're having a hard time making ends meet, the very basic thing I could tell you to do is stop. Be still. Just be still. Cut all the extra shit out. Cut all the noise out. Literally. Like right now, you hear how quiet it is in my house? Listen. You hear the Wi-Fi going over here. And you hear my clock over here. My Egyptian clock. But I don't like a lot of noise. I don't like I don't like being around a lot of people. I'm very protective with my energy. Even family, I have to push them off too, because I understand that the more you start to read, the more you start to grow, and the more you start to understand things and assimilate the information, you pull away from all the bullshit, right? You do. And the very basic thing I say, anybody who sees this video is going through depression, is going through something, and they feel like they're just going to off themselves, or, God forbid that happen. Because I've known 4 people that have committed suicide. And holidays is always around the time when people pass and they commit suicide or people die tragically, just like the thing that happened this morning in Louisiana. My thing is, we got to stop. We just got to take a seat and sit down. When is the last time you sat in silence? When is the last time you just turned your fucking phone off and you just sat there in the house with no lights on and just quiet and just learn how to breathe and take in the oxygen that radiates every cell in your body? Sometimes we just need to slow down and just stop for a minute, right? My purpose of making this video is to bring information to you all, share some things that I find, put things together, and kind of help map out, try to map out what this is and what has been done. It's so much muck that you got to clean out of your cup. The basic thing I can tell a person is, if you're going through any kind of hardship or depression, financial thing, it's because you're at a lower vibe, and it steals your energy. It steals your joy. You've got to get to a point to where you protect your energy. You cut away from those things. Okay. For those of you who buy into this 2025 nonsense, you want to start off on a good foot, then you got to cut some things off. You got to cut people off, man. You ain't got to explain nothing to nobody, right? You don't. You just got to understand that you are a gift. You are a sentient being, okay? And I don't know, the creator of all is telling me to speak. I don't know why I'm saying these things. I'm just telling you. It's coming out of me because somebody needs to freaking hear this. Somebody needs to know that you are loved, for that word, if you want to call it that. But if we are walking in our true existence and we are moving as one, we would not be having the issues that we're having right now. And that's my point, you know. Yes, energy is a thing. Yes, you got to protect your biofield. Yes, you've got to be in harmony and balance like a nature. I went outside earlier today and just sat out in my driveway and just let the sun hit me in the face, right? I should have been grounding. The grass is wet. But I wanted to take in that sun and I was just soaking up the sun, and it felt so freaking good. I actually fell asleep in the chair. I fell asleep in the sun. But my point is that you just have to allow yourself to breathe and give yourself some grace. Everybody goes through something, right? And what I find in my life out of 55 years is, when I don't want to be bothered with somebody, I'm going to just cut their ass off completely and not deal with it. And not deal with the BS. Choose and pick who you want in your environment. Like I said, I've been in this house for 2 years, and there's a handful of people that have been over here. And it's not intentionally, I'm not saying that I don't want family to come over. It's just that I work. We both work. My husband and I, we both work. We both do things, and I do research and things like that. Eventually, I probably will have folks come over, maybe in the summertime or something. But I protect my energy. I don't have people running in and out my house. I can't stand that. I have to cleanse this place. I have to cleanse the energy. And if energy is stagnant and trapped, you're going to feel it throughout your body. You're carrying negative emotions. You're carrying depression. You're carrying anger. You're carrying childhood traumas. You are experiencing that within your body. Your body's going to store that energy, right? Biofield tuning will help release that energy. Now, there has been times when people come out with rashes. They come out with slight sicknesses, headaches, nausea, things like that after you've had your body tuned. And then you have to go through more than one session to do that. But my point is that the basic thing that you can get from this video, the takeaway, apart from me reading The Murder of Reality, is that you are loved, you're wonderfully created, you're a sentient being, and stop buying into the bullshit. Don't buy into what everybody else is saying. Do your own research, be your own best cheerleader, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemy because we let too many minds, the chatter in our heads get to us. And you got to understand, they're playing with frequencies. They're playing with shit that you have no idea what the technology that they've created. And they're putting this crap in our heads. They're radiating the skies with these nanites. We're taking it in food, water, and air. We're breathing it in. And when they're ready to turn that 10G, like Chief says, I know because I pulled the patents. They're going to fry us from the inside out like microwaves. Unless you come together and you do what you need to do about fasting and purging yourself. I just did a fast. I'm going to do another one. I am going to take some bentonite clay as well and go through this whole process again. And with that being said, you know, I had to change everything. And I'm doing that now. So My point is that whoever need to hear that, just know that you're wonderfully and beautifully created and you're loved. You're loved. And don't think that you're by yourself. You really aren't by yourself. We're all in this together and we're all interconnected. Whether these idiots know it or not, we're all interconnected. They do that to us. They're doing it to themselves. They've been promised certain things. They've been shown certain things. That's all a lie. Because like Chief said, he knows how it ends. And even before I met Chief Red Wolf, my son was telling me this stuff. Once he cracked his pineal and he became entangled with the creator of all, and he has these clicks in his ears and he does this magnificent stuff. But once he started doing that and he started speaking to me and telling me certain things, it was like it wasn't him anymore. It was like the creator of all speaking through him for me to understand, right? And so he told me how it was going to end before Chief even said anything. And the validation came when I linked up with Chief Red Wolf and he started saying the same thing, that he has a story to tell. I'm here to tell you, yeah, he's right. And I'm not, trying to stir the pot or be fearful or put that fear and that angst out there. I'm just simply saying these idiots don't know when to stop, and it's all going to come to an head, We are, whether we're in the body or out of the body, we're wonderfully created and we're part of the creation. And we got to know we are co-creators ourselves. And I'll always bring information to you guys within love and try to be on a higher vibe with you guys. I am a sentient being. I don't like to use the word human because I'm not a sea monster or sea beast, but I am not without fault, right? I do have things that I need to work on for myself. I'm not perfect. Never said I was, and never will I ever be until I've been transformed, right? My point is that I appreciate you guys taking the time out to spend this afternoon with me today and let me read to you and bring some things up to you. I always like to talk about those damn reptilians because they're in the forefront of everything. Even though they are our brothers and sisters, even though they are those ones, those things, those beings that have set this paradigm up, they got to know that their time is coming too. That they're not without fault. They're going to get cast too. They think that they're on this higher echelon because they vibrate at a higher resonance and they can shape shift and they can become centripetal and they're entangled. Their time is limited too. Their time is limited too. So my point is I appreciate you guys taking the time out for me today. And remember what I always say after every video: you be the change you want to see all around this earth dome, because it's up to you and I to make a positive change. I appreciate you guys, and just get some rest and take it easy and pull back from all the craziness. Separate yourself from the herd, right? You gotta trim the fat and you gotta separate yourself from the herd, because at the end of the day, it's going to be about you being accountable to save yourself, and by you taking the time out to do the things you need to do to get prepared for what is coming. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.